Hello. Well, today, as you can see, I have a new book. Um, though before I get into that, I will just say this book is on Amazon also, now in hardback. Um, uh, the hardback is a little pricier, but um, considering all the stuff and all that they all have, um, like in terms of what it's going to cost, anytime a book is uh, printed and how much they're going to make off of it, I want to have a decent amount of money coming back to me. I hope the prices of the hardback for this, as well as my next book, will be understandable for you all. And so I will now go and there we go. Um, I've never done a screen sharing before, but so here is the Wandering Sheriff, in hardcover, 16 35. Paperback is still the same price, and $2.99 for the ebook. Hope all that is sufficient for everybody. So, yeah, and the new book, Downtime and Work Conversations, which are 3 short stories. The Kindle will be $3.99, paperback $9.95, and hardcover $17.35. Just go back to here. There we go. Again, I'm pretty new to the whole screen sharing because I've never really had to do that before or found a reason to. But yeah, this new book, just 3 short stories of people just conversing with each other. The first is about people having conversations about movies. Some of the stuff is from conversations I've had with friends of mine in the past, as well as other conversations like regarding like movies. Not only that I myself have thoughts on, but others have thoughts on, and so I guess in a way, like a character or two might be sort of like a composite of myself to an extent. But also, these characters, have opinions on certain movies that I myself, might not completely agree with, but whatever. And it's also, from others' conversations, what they have to say about certain movies, their thoughts and all that good stuff. So that's the first story. Second is a detective talking to, at first, killer he caught, and then he's just saying the same stuff to him over and over that he has in the past. And they thought maybe they have some more information about, whatever these killers sort of do. Like if they want certain investigators to talk to again, even though they have basically nothing to add or to the case that officer detective had that was pursuing them pertaining to their own case or any other case. And then he goes back and has to have a report on that, and then also working on another case, and then he goes home and talks with his wife and all that good stuff. Then the last story is basically about two, or not two, a bunch of people in a grocery store. And it's just basically sort of like a day of people working and stocking shelves and unloading and stuff that they've gotten, and then how basically also like the new manager is kind of an idiot making certain changes that really doesn't benefit um, the store, but they're this like the son of somebody who's important. I don't really say um, what this important person does. Like, at least I don't believe I did. If I did, it was so much in the midst of me writing and then looking back to making sure there's no major mistakes grammatically or anything of the sort that you know I don't believe I wrote what the implication or what I intended to be. I think it's one of those things like the reader can probably either pick it up on what it is that this person's father, what position he has, um, or if it's not that, maybe it's something else. But I thought it was more interesting, like if somebody got promoted to being the manager of a grocery store when somebody else would have been way more qualified. Somebody who's worked there a lot longer, knows that business, can make an excellent career out of working there, and sort of inspired by like a sort of a chain of grocery stores and um, my state, Hy-Vee, um, which is primarily in Iowa, but there are some like in Missouri and I believe in South Dakota, North Dakota. There's some other. It's expanded in other neighboring Midwest states. Um, but I never gave this store a name because I kind of wanted to be just sort of like an every grocery store, and I thought if I uh, gave it a name, yeah, I don't know, it might perhaps limit to what kind of store it could be. If it was a Hy-Vee, it might only really limit to where this story specifically can take place. And I just didn't want to give it one. I don't know why, I just didn't. But yeah, this is something I've mentioned before a few times on this channel. But now that it's done and it's also been 72 hours since it was done on Tuesday, uploaded all that stuff and having to do it individually from the ebook to the paperback to the hardback. Um, that was an experience. The fact that you can't do it all for all of them. Of course, the ebook, there's no back of it. So I guess in a way that would make sense. But it's a shame for that Amazon doesn't have something to which you can do a cover and all that stuff for paperback and hardback at once if you choose to do so. And then you could apply the front cover to the ebook and all that good stuff. Who knows? Maybe that's something they could work on in the future. I don't know. Hardcover, not hardback. Hardcover is pretty new from what I've observed. So yeah, this is kind of cool and exciting for me in the sense like I've written another book. I wasn't sure if I would, and if I was going to, didn't really have a clue what I would write, and that's kind of why there was nothing last year. Um, but I am happy to have it out now, and if any of them sound interesting to you, stories, you can of course consider buying one if you like. Um, uh, it's also cool to have a hardcover of this. I kind of wanted to do that, but at the time they didn't have an option for that, and I could have done the paperback in 2020, but I waited till last year to have the paperback, mainly because I knew for some people they had not yet, gotten things up and running for themselves. Like, depending on where they lived, they might not have been able to go back to work. If they did, it might be from home and might have been focusing a lot on that. And yeah, I just I'm happy with that. Fortunately, the text is still going to be like this size and all that, so there wasn't really much I could do. I did in the settings of the app that I wrote this news book on. Um, I formatted it how they wanted, and yet for some reason, like 6 by 9 and all that, but for whatever reason, it didn't register, and so it has to be that size. That's a bummer, I think. Um, Hopefully, it's not a big deal for all of you. If it is, apologies. That's also part of the reason I meant to get it out earlier in the month, like not long after 4th of July. But the formatting and everything was just odd and just didn't really help me in the sense of at the end of it all, it is still the same. And so, yeah, I apologies for that, but hopefully the stories will be good enough, or interesting enough. And I also just wanted a different thing. First book was a story from beginning to end. I think it was a pretty good one, especially for a first book. Um, and this is just different. I wanted to also show some, you know, a bit of diversity. Just something that's like not just what one might expect from an. If I wrote another book, westerns. I don't believe at this point, in terms of books, are particularly huge and popular. Um, but from the sales and stuff that I got, I was pleasantly surprised. I don't want to say how much I made off of the book, but it surprised me. More than just my friends and family bought this book. Um, so hopefully, you all will be curious and will enjoy. Hopefully, if you buy this book, this new book of mine, um, just people talking and hello, all is good where I am. Um, just talking about a new book that I written and published. So in the description of this stream, both the hardback or hardcovers should be there. Um, and of course, you don't have to just do the hardcover if you want to buy either my new book or this Western. Um, though some people do have this, and so if you do have it, you don't need to buy hardcover unless you really want to, like just the novelty of it. Um, Probably get one myself just to have, paperback and hardcover, and I might do that for this next one, and might have an update at some point whenever I do get, my own copies of the new book in physical form. But yeah, this was fun. I do enjoy writing stuff, though it does take a while, of course, and while it will be great if within a whole month got a whole book written or big story written and everything, you know, that's not always the case because even if I do within 30 days write a whole story that I've thought of from beginning to end, of course I want to edit and make sure it's the best it can be. And then of course getting a cover made, because that's another thing. I'm not the best at covers, but I am. There's sites that you can find pictures and such, and then rate from there. Either through uh, KDP Publishing, which is Amazon's publishing service that people can use to publish their own books if they write them. It's really cool that Amazon does allow this. Of course, other sites do, but I think the fact that Amazon, being the huge site it is, it's great to have people able to get their stuff out there And yeah, I really enjoy the different process of writing a book. It's faster to get it out than, say, making a movie. Making a movie, you need quite a bit of money in order to get things going, and then of course, you might have to pay some people. Some might be able to might do a movie for free just for the experience of it, and you know, but some people won't do it for free, and so it's like you need to have just enough money to be able to, aside from spending it on the essential things like their cameras, microphones, and all this and that. Uh, with a book, if you've written it and then you're able to, you have an account on Amazon and all that stuff, you can then just follow the directions, and it's pretty simple. Um, it's really cool how they walk you through each step, so that's always great. But yeah, if this new book interests you, of course, you can, again, in the description, click on the link, look at it, see if it interests you at all. If it does, fantastic. You can buy it. If not, I understand. I'm sure people would like more stories than just people just talking about whatever, be it movies or be it their job or, whatever comes to people's minds on a daily basis. Sometimes people don't want to really read stuff that's like real life. You want to kind of be taken to some other world, even if it's sort of like reality. You want something a bit more interesting. Um, I have the new book by Quentin Tarantino, the Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. That book, you know, of course, takes place in 1969 Los Angeles or Hollywood, and in a lot of ways you can see that. But even then, it's a Tarantino movie, and so things like it's like real yet also not real at the same time. People would like to have something like that to read or even to watch. Some people just aren't interested in like basic real life stuff, and I understand that. Sometimes I just want to watch or read something that's not even related to this world that we all live in, but sometimes it's kind of nice to have a realistic kind of setting for a movie or a book. Um, I hope all of you watching this, be it live or later, are doing well. Uh, GB Luke is here and said hello. um, Hope you're doing well. I hope everybody is doing well. Just wanted to come on here and just make this as brief as possible. Didn't go too long rambling, but I want to just talk enough about it so that way of this new book. That way, it's out there, and there we go. Hello. Um, I'm winding down now, but hello to anybody who's in the chat that's new here. But yeah, I hope all of you doing well. If you want to buy my books, of course you can. I'm not forced to, but just click the links in the description if you're interested in buying a Western or a book of 3 short stories that are basically like day-to-day lives. And yeah, I think I'm not the best at giving pitches in terms of selling my own stuff, but I'm doing my best. If I was really good, I probably would have been able to make a movie by now with a Kickstarter or a Indiegogo or some campaign, even though that is kind of goes nowhere if you're trying to make a movie, because people just don't go for the various perks that people have. Some that are good and some that's another reason I don't really know what kind of perks I could give beyond like a Blu-ray or something of the movie once it's complete, which even then I would want it to be in theaters for a decent amount of time before getting the Blu-rays made and sent out and all that good stuff. Um, but yeah, if anybody who has any good ideas on how that could work in my benefit, and not just mine, but anyone else's benefit for people trying to make movies, the crowdfunding way, let me know in the comments if you have any suggestions. But if not, that's all fine too. Um, but yeah, Downtime and Work Conversations, three short stories. Link is in the description. You can get it in ebook, paperback, and hardcover. And Wandering Sheriff is also available in ebook and paperback, as you can see here. But it's also now available in hardcover also. Hardcover is a little more expensive. This one's $16.35. The Downtime Work Conversations is $17.35. And again, the reason it's that price is because I'm only going to get like a couple bucks in terms of royalties out of it. So I'm like, I don't want it to be a stupid price like $25. The lowest you can put for those hard covers is 13. The highest is yeah, 25. And I thought 16.35 and 17.35 are pretty good in the middle area prices. I think I guess I could have gone higher, but in terms of a authoring career, making books, writing books, I guess I should say, I'm fairly new at it, so I want the prices to be pretty reasonable and fair for somebody who's new at writing books, because I would like people to buy them, and I don't want them to be stupid prices that might seem reasonable to some, but then there's like, if you look at the contents, might be good story, good books, good stories and all that, but maybe not worth the price. That's the thing. That's like, you want it to be worth the price that people pay. You don't want it overpriced. And I also don't want it underpriced. So that's another thing. It's like, I'm trying to find a medium that would benefit not just myself financially in the back end of royalties, but also the people who would buy them. I don't want to screw anybody. I don't want to screw myself or anyone else. Though I guess I could always up the price at some point, but I don't really want to do that. Have a great speaking voice. Well, thank you very much, Bagels Blockhead. Bagels Blockhead. I don't know. I've never really thought about doing audio books, of reading my own, but who knows? Maybe that will happen one point. Never say never, but at this point, I have not done so. But again, I don't want to, don't want to say no. But it's not something I've really thought about. But who knows? Maybe I will at some point. That could be something that'd be interesting to do. Read this for a bit. Chapter by chapter, and who knows? It could be pretty cool. But yeah, that's really all I have to say. But yeah, I won't say no to an audio book of mine at any point. But yeah, it's just not something I've really thought much about. And but thank you that you like my voice, my accent. I'm from the Midwest here in America, from Iowa, so I guess it's a Midwestern accent. I guess that's always interesting. Like, people say there's certain accents in certain places, and yet I think for America there are certain areas in America that do have distinct accents, but then the rest I think are just pretty American. And of course, I'm from America, so that's why I would think that. But it's really interesting. I think people say, "Oh, you have this kind of accent or something," and especially when you don't really think you do. But I guess we all have accents to some degree. Um, but yeah, thank you all who are watching um, live, and to those who are watching later. I hope all of you are doing well. Uh, yeah, you kind of have an accent. I'm from Texas. That's cool. Texas accents, I think, are pretty cool. Um, but yeah, I hope all of you are doing well. Hope all of you are have had a great day. Hope your weekend will be great, and I will see you all next time. Take care and goodbye.